Today, hardly 40 years after the great train robbery, the art of telling stories with camera and film has become the nation's fifth greatest industry, with a capital investment of $3 billion. And each production is a highly speculative venture, for its story, its direction, and its cast must please the ever-changing tastes of those who support the industry, an army of 250 million moviegoers. International capital of the motion picture is a fabulously press-agented suburb of Los Angeles, Hollywood, a community whose name alone is a magic word throughout the world. But in Hollywood, where 65% of all films are produced, the making of movies is a serious and complicated business. Among the movie industry's 30,000 employees are men and women from nearly 300 trades and professions. Nowhere in the world are there craftsmen who take more exacting care. For in the making of a picture, carelessness in one single detail can mar the combined work of the hundreds whose talents go toward the making of a scene. Today, big-time movie making requires weeks and months of tireless research and preparation before a camera turns a single foot of film. And a big slice of every Hollywood producer's budget must go for the studio sets, which serve as background and atmosphere for his story. For the great movie public, becoming more and more observant, demands scrupulous historical accuracy and strictest attention to minute details. Every studio has its own museum, immense warehouses crammed with furniture and fittings, props from every nation in the world, from every period in history. But for years, Hollywood producers have paid a quarter of their total production budgets, more than $40 million a year, to the men and women who are their players. For upon the popularity of screen actors, many a producing company has built its fame and fortune. Today, the industry is more insistent than ever that its artists have something beside glamour, and it demands that they know how to play a scene, how to create a character. For with the movies no longer a novelty, but an accepted art, the cinema has a responsibility to the public, a responsibility that must be upheld with all the creative skill, the imagination, and resources at its command. Well remembered in the slow development of the talking picture are Dr. Lee DeForest, Theodore Case, and Earl Sponable, the research staffs of RCA, Bell Laboratories engineers Donald Mackenzie and Edward Winter. Well remembered, too, is the fall of 1927, when the late Sam Warner, using Bell Laboratories equipment, produced the most revolutionary picture in all movie history, a film trademarked Vitaphone, that was to give to the screen a new dimension and a new power. So young is Hollywood that many of its earliest pioneers are still active in the industry. Men like Nicholas Skink, able chief of MGM, and his brother Joseph, chairman of the board of 20th Century Fox. Harry Warner, an industry veteran of 36 years, is president of the great Warner Brother Enterprises. Heading Paramount is Barney Balaban, who entered the picture business in 1908. Still a big name in Hollywood, Cecil B. DeMille made his first feature nearly 30 years ago. Back in the studios, working with Hal Roach, is the great D.W. Griffith. On the stages of 20th Century, the veteran laugh makers Buster Keaton and Mack Sennett are at work again. Ever a master showman, wise old Samuel Goldwyn has for an assistant a son of the President of the United States. As overlord of the movies, shrewd diplomat Will Hayes has been steering the industry through its problems and crises for 17 years. Since 1930, the Hayes Production Code, voluntarily adopted by all major producers, has been law to Hollywood's movie makers. To Will Hayes' enforcement officer, genial Joe Breen, has gone the difficult job of making sure that no picture offensive to any race, class, or creed shall reach the screen. For in all its years, Hollywood has pursued one great objective: to please and entertain its public. But the Hollywood of 1939 is finding that the public has new ideas of entertainment. Richly has it rewarded Walt Disney, whose Snow White shattered traditions and box office records and established a new kind of feature, a new kind of movie star. Another tradition breaker is Jack L. Warner, smart and successful producer of a long list of films in which the public has found both entertainment and significance. Meeting the growing demand for important drama, RKO's president, capable George Schaefer, has signed Raymond Massey for the part of Lincoln in the screen version of 1939's Pulitzer Prize play. Representative of Hollywood's growing progressiveness is Walter Wanger, soon to produce Vincent Sheehan's outspoken narrative on present-day problems.
And we have facts to face: wars abroad, social and economic distress at home, threats to democracy everywhere. It is time for us to assume our responsibilities and to deal truthfully and freely with the problems which face us today.
Master of the art of motion picture entertainment is Columbia's ace director-producer Frank Capra. For his newest picture, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, director Capra has drawn on the almost untouched wealth of story material on the national political scene. For John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, 20th Century's Darryl Zanuck has paid $75,000, announced that he will faithfully portray the plight of U.S. migratory workers. And eagerly awaited by moviegoers everywhere is a film in which the world's most feared political figure will be burlesqued by the world's greatest comedian, 50-year-old Charlie Chaplin. But to Hollywood, each new trend is an experiment. For 250 million moviegoers each week pass final judgment on the most powerful medium of expression the world has ever known, an art form as great as any in man's history. Time marches on.